Hey everybody, I am AR Mar, and what I watched today is Book 3, Chapter 14 of Avatar Last Airbender, The Boiling Rock, Part 1. We start with Zuko making tea and chatting with the group. Everyone's a lot more relaxed around him after his adventure with Aang last episode, and it's actually a really fun scene as Zuko tries to imitate Iroh and make friends. At a certain point, Sokka pulls him aside for a talk, asking him, where does the Fire Nation keep its prisoners of war? Zuko reluctantly tells him that it's an island in the middle of a boiling lake, and the group passed it on their way to the air temple. Sokka tries to play it cool, but it's pretty obvious at this point that he's going to try to rescue his father. True to form, he sneaks out at night, only to find Zuko waiting for him on Appa. And what we get here is what I was actually hoping for, a Sokka-Zuko episode. And it starts with a pretty funny line. You happy now? I'm never happy. I love Zuko's just glib, sort of matter-of-fact sense of humor at this point. And they decide that Appa would be too obvious. They don't even know where they would put him while they're inside the prison. So instead they take Zuko's war balloon and leave a note for the others claiming that they've just gone fishing. Just gone fishing. I mean, it's not too far off. They've gone to a lake. The small talk between the two is really lacking at first, until something Sokka says incites Zuko to talk about his uncle, referring to him as his real father. Bravo, Zuko. I know this has been said before, but it's a great little note, and I just love that Zuko is really realizing it now. He's in that point. He's grown to that point that he realizes that Iroh is really his father, not this cold bastard who scarred and banished him. Zuko also talks about how he feels really bad because he left his girlfriend May behind. He didn't want her getting caught up in the whole traitor thing, so he left her behind for her protection. Sokka counters with, and sort of wins, my first girlfriend turned into the moon. That's rough, buddy. Every one of Zuko's dry responses just make me laugh in this episode. And in a cool science moment, the balloon starts to sink as they get over the prison, since the air outside the balloon is just as hot as the air inside. The whole boiling lake thing. The steam above the lake is basically making the balloon fall. Thanks to the fact that the bottom part of the balloon is mostly boat-shaped, they managed to skim the water before crash landing on the prison island. Sokka, in order to maintain their cover, sinks the balloon, having decided that his usual plans never seem to work out, so this time he's going to play it by ear. And it's kind of fun seeing Sokka's confidence wavering like this. He's normally Mr. I have a plan, but he's had so many backfire on him that he's doubting himself. Instead of going in with a plan, he's just improvising because he's afraid that if he tries to make another plan, it will fail. The funny thing here is, it's failure to make a plan is planning to fail. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. They secure some guard uniforms and infiltrate the prison, getting separated after a high-ranked guard abuses a prisoner into breaking the rules as an excuse to put him in solitary. This is an old prison trope, but I love it. It's well used here, and it's really well done. I mean, the high-ranked guard basically tricks the prisoner by attacking him with firebending. Of course, the guy firebends back to protect himself, but does not attack the guard. But then they go, well, firebending, you broke the rules. It'd be kind of like a guard saying, hey man, you want to smoke? I got a prisoner with a smoke! He's breaking the rules! Yeah, except a lot easier to trick them into, because when you've got a fireball heading towards your face, you're probably going to try and protect yourself. Reuniting later, they revealed what they were able to find here. Zuko buddied up some veteran guards in the lounge, and Sokka got a bit of information out of the guard that was being abusive. Zuko reveals that, there are none of the guards have any knowledge of Water Tribe prisoners being kept in this prison. And as he's trying to cheer Sokka up by spouting some Iroh-sounding nonsense about cloud and silver lining, I mean, he's sort of getting close to the point, but he's meandering too much and he doesn't quite know where to end the analogy. But what really cheers Sokka up is spotting Suki down in the yard. And later they find Suki's cell and Sokka visits her, and it is a really touching moment. She starts to cry, saying she knew he'd come for her, and wow, like, I can feel her. Like, you can almost feel what she's feeling there, that sheer relief. After so long of being a prisoner, her faith has been rewarded. Sokka has come for her. Admittedly, he didn't come here intending to look for her, but still, like, it is a really touching moment, especially because, as you guys know, I am a huge fan of Suki. I don't really like his first girlfriend that much, but Suki is awesome. A female guard arrives and, she wants to enter Suki's cell. We don't find out why. Zuko, trying to protect Sokka's cover, ends up ruining his own. And we find out that the warden of the prison is Mei's uncle. So he has a special hate-on for Zuko. Later, when Sokka finds them mopping, we have another really cool moment. Where basically Suki states that she met Zuko before. When he burned down her village. And Zuko's just kind of like, sorry about that. Oh, that was, like, another great just little Zuko bit of, like, dry, I have no idea what to say here, sorry? They hatch an escape plan to use one of the firebending containing coolers that serve as the solitary confinement for this prison to sail across the boiling lake. This again shows off Sokka's ingenuity. He reasons that the coolers meant to contain firebenders are insulated to keep the cold in, which will keep the bulk of the heat from the boiling lake out. And it is a beautiful plan. I mean, he goes through all the parts he went through to come up with it. He found a blind spot from the guard towers to launch it from. He even studied the currents of a little paper boat to see, like, okay, they go outward towards the edge, so there we go. It's like, as much as Sokka's doubting himself, he is brilliant. Of course, the prisoner from earlier who was put in solitary overhears them, basically says, either I'm coming along, or I will report you. So they've got one more to account for, though he does help them set up a distraction that gets Zuko put into one of these cells. The fun part is that, Zuko manages to smuggle a wrench into the cell, unbolts it from the inside, and when Sokka goes to check up on him, he's perfectly comfortable. And he just, like, breathes a bunch of fire out of his nose, and you kind of notice that this is the meditation technique that Iroh taught him so far back. Like, another thing that Iroh taught him that he thought was stupid at the time is saving him. So, again, awesome little nods to continuity and to how Iroh really is the one who's taught Zuko everything he knows. Just as everything is about to go to plan, they're about to leave, they hear that the prison is receiving more prisoners tomorrow, among them prisoners of war, which potentially means Sokka's dad. So it's at this point that they start debating, it's like, does Sokka leave with them and risk, and not, like, jeopardize the idea that he might be able to save his dad? Or does he stay and risk Suki and Zuko's freedom, and the freedom of the prisoners that basically elected to come with them or were telling the guards? Zuko tries to encourage Sokka, basically with another weird Iroh-style speech, with the point of which ends up being that no matter how much you fail, you must continue to try, because you will learn from every failure. Sokka at first, he decides to say, but he tries to encourage the others to leave. But Suki and Zuko will have none of that. They're both loyal enough to him to be like, no, we're gonna be here and we will help you. I mean, Suki, it's obvious why, because she loves the dope. Zuko, it's probably just along the lines of, there's no way he could return to the Avataring Company without Sokka, and he does want to redeem himself for everything he's done in the past. So in a way, this is another step towards his redemption. which really is a great thing. Like, it's a great little touch, and it's easy to see why he's doing it without it seeming contrived, why Zuko would want to be helping in this situation. He really wants to prove himself to the Avatar crew. Unfortunately, the other prisoners mess up the escape and put the entire place into lockdown, which is going to add a new dimension of difficulty to Sokka's escape plan later. And the episode ends with the new prisoners being unloaded, and we get a tense moment where Sokka wonders if he stayed for nothing. And then, finally, they see him. Sokka's dad. It may be nearly impossible now that the place is in lockdown, but I get a feeling that somehow Sokka will find a way to succeed. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next episode.